So service first mentality. All right. So first and foremost, I'm a big Bible guy and everything, and no matter if you love books, love Bible, whatever, I just love this verse for even the Son of Man came not to be served but to serve. So just prevalent that in the Bible, that service first is a big value. So what it means to me, service mentality is simply this: customers over commissions. I'm just going to set a timer for myself here. Oops. Cool. Awesome. All right. So customers over commissions. So you basically what that means is when you're working with a customer behind the booth, at a service event, on a virtual appointment, you want to really use your intuition. All right. We are trained at a high level on how to handle objections and how to sharpen our skill set. And we want to use that to serve our customers at the highest level. And not to ever manipulate our customers or try to persuade them to do what we want them to do, but what we want them to do, that what we know is going to be best for them. So sometimes once in a while, when customers say like, hey, I really need to just think about it and walk around, once in a while, they actually do. So I'm going to trust my gut feeling when I can just feel that, that one person does need to take a quick lap just to say, no worries, I totally get it. I can feel that like you actually do need to take a walk. Just do me a favor. Come back and let me know either way. Because if you don't come back, I may sit at home and cry and like, why didn't they come back? Did I stink? Did I smell? Right. And they laugh every time and they usually come back. And either way, if they say yes to the deal or not, they definitely appreciate that you've given them that choice. If you can also feel in your gut that it's not that certain option isn't the best option for them, then drop down right away. Even if it's where like one spouse is for it, but the other one, you can just tell just isn't feeling it. You want to acknowledge that. You want to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I can feel you are all about the set. You'd be super excited to have it. But it feels like Mr. Jones just isn't on board. Like he probably knows you need good knives, but he just doesn't feel comfortable investing in this set. So why don't I just show you a different option that will still give you everything that you want, but maybe is just more comfortable to Mr. Jones. Plus, you can always upgrade later. That way, when you say that, the other spouse, whether if it's the husband or the wife, they're going to love and appreciate you for respecting them and acknowledging that you could feel what they're feeling. Okay. A smaller order now is better than a canceled order later. Okay. Because sometimes when you just go for it, and I've experienced this where later on they end up canceling that order because even though one person was all about it, the other one wasn't really feeling it. Okay. So what are your rules of engagement for your business? Rules of engagement is simply how you show up. It's your values for your job. So I coach with a group, Faith to Influence, and their first rule of engagement is to lead with love. So when a customer comes up to the booth, are you leading with love and just asking them how they're doing? The second one is to be curious first and critical second. So when someone says, I need to think about it, instead of kind of just diving in like, oh yeah, I totally know you need to think about it. It's probably a lot of money or some pieces like, let me just show you a different set. Just be curious and just say, yeah, totally get it. Just curious. What you need to think about. I've had the great opportunity to cross-train with Brandon a couple times. And this is literally all he says. It's like, yeah, totally get it. Just curious. What do you need to think about? Right? They say, I want to talk to my spouse. Oh, I totally get it. Let me guess. You probably didn't come here thinking you're going to spend X amount on this or, et cetera, right? Sure. Hey, just curious. What exactly would you want to talk to your spouse about? Right? Be curious first and critical second. So what are your rules of engagement? What are your business values, your company values? Then the next question you should ask yourself, what are your customers saying about you? So if you had to ask like a handful of your best clients or all of them and say, hey, what would you say about how I serve you or how I conduct business? What would they say? And these are just some examples of what my customers have said about me. And what I know for a fact is the CSPs that you're hearing from and the CSPs in your division, your region, that their customers are saying the exact same thing. right? Love my Cutco. I have the best Cutco rep of them all. The thing I love about Vernon is he cares about his clients as much as I do. You make a difference, Vernon. Vernon is the best. Help me buy a knife from my boss for Christmas. Super helpful. Such wonderful service he provides. He's an excellent salesman, provides great tips for which knives to use where. This is what happens when you serve your customers first and you put your customers before your commissions. Another way that you can do this is simply be a human being before you are a salesperson. Matt Foss said this earlier at an earlier conference that he had, and it's so true. So when that sharp customer comes up to the booth, or when you get referred to that hot referral and they pop up on your screen, are you seeing dollar signs or are you seeing a human being, right? Are you seeing a fat sale or are you seeing a start of a great relationship? So when they walk up to you, just ask them, how are you doing today? Josh, I actually learned this from you a few years ago for service calls. Like the first two questions you ask, how are you doing today? And how is your day going so far? Even though they're very similar questions, they're slightly different at the same time. Okay. I would hear Nick Snyder ask this question, like, do you have anything else going on today? At service events or at shows? And be like, yeah, this is basically it. Oh, sweet. So I'm the highlight of your day today. And they always laugh at that, right? How's your family been? The last time we spoke, you mentioned this. How's that going? So a lot of CSPs, we take great notes in our CRM. If you don't know what a CRM is, it's just simply a database of all your customers. So even if you're brand new, you could export your customer list from Vector Connect, put them in a spreadsheet and just add a column that says notes. So as you see them over the years, you can start taking notes, or you could go through and you can put in notes of what you remember about them. Okay. So like Ed, I know you have your karate business. How's karate been over the last, over this last year? One of the awesome things that Bert Wicks taught us last year when the pandemic happened is texting his customers and just saying, hey, things are super crazy right now. Just want to say, like, I hope your family is doing well. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. Super simple, just like that. Asking them if there's any way that you can pray for them, support them. If there's anything you can do, Cutco or not Cutco during these times, please let me know, right? Being a human being first before you are a salesperson. When you're meeting a customer virtually for the first time, or if you're doing a kind of virtual servicing, you want to take care of the products first. We've all had this where customers start asking about different knives and cookware and like, I have weddings coming up. Can you tell me about your specials? And we get really excited. And what you want to say in those moments is say, hey, those are great questions. And I promise we'll get to that soon. I want to make sure that I take care of your knives first. And they're going to really appreciate that because they know you're not there to just sell them more knives, that you actually want to take care of their knives. So I want you to ask yourself this question, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your customer service? With 1 being there's no service whatsoever, you're just business only, you're just there for the sale. 10 being that it's the highest level of service possible. How would you rate yourself? And then as you jot down your rating, here are some ways that maybe you can consider to increase your customer service. Send confirmation emails, especially when they buy cookware. Bert Wicks just talked to our region, and he gave a fire confirmation email that he sends when someone buys cookware, right? When someone books a virtual demo or virtual service call, if you're doing a pickup drop-off service, you're doing virtual inspections, are you sending a confirmation email that clearly lays out everything that program is from A to Z, so they understand exactly what to expect? Right? Send in their knives for them or walk them online how to do it. So at a service event, send it in for them for free. Right? If you're meeting them online, pull up Cutco.com and go to the repair site and copy and paste that link and have them fill it out with you right there on the appointment. Have them grab a box, have them grab some newspaper and actually have them package it up, print off the form from online, put it in the box. So all they have to do is just take it to the post office or UPS or whatever they do their shipping, and they can just ship it out. Okay. Ask questions about their cooking habits and what they want in their kitchen products. So when you are talking to a new customer behind the booth or you're doing a virtual demo, ask them, hey, what's important to you when it comes to your kitchen knives, your pots and pans, your forks and spoons, right? Knowing that this is going to be very quality stuff, and knowing that this will be the most expensive knives you'll ever buy, or pots and pans, what would you want? What would you want them to do for you? Educate them. So what I do when I'm doing any kind of servicing, after I sharpen their knives, I reteach them and re-educate them the proper uses of their knives. Because if I'm servicing someone for the first time, this is the first time in 10, 20, 30 years that they've seen a representative. There's a good chance they forgot what the proper uses of a paring knife is, right? Or a trimmer. And I've had customers tell me, Vernon, this has been very fun and educational, and I'm really excited to use my knives again because I know the proper uses of it. Make videos. One of the things I love doing is making knife 101 videos and cookware videos. Josh Moeller and Jason Jeffrey have awesome videos that I definitely use all the time. So thank you for helping me sell lots of knives. Definitely owe you some commissions on that. But make videos of you like cutting up your knives and cooking with your cookware. They love to see that, and send it to them. When they ask, hey, when am I supposed to use my vegetable knife again? Send them a video of you cutting a spaghetti squash with your vegetable knife. It's so powerful. Create a Facebook group. The one thing that I love about a Facebook group versus a Facebook page is when you post something on there, everybody in your Facebook group is going to get notified. When you post in a Facebook page, they're not going to get notified. So it just causes more intimacy with your clients and more fun engagement and interaction. Respond ASAP. So when a customer calls you, texts you, emails you, if you have time in that moment, respond to them right away. And here's another one. Own up to your mistakes. We're all human, right? So we're going to make mistakes. If they get a wrong color, pay for a shipping label to send it back and exchange it for the right color. If they didn't get a knife right away, pay for the knife and ship it to them, right? If you made a mistake, you own up to it. Go over and beyond. Mike Dowd preaches this, to go over and beyond, over deliver and over deliver. Okay. I recently sent in knives for a small coffee shop that uses a set. So I had some extra pieces that I let them use in the meantime while I sent in their knives. So if you have extra knives where a couple of clients can use in the meantime, let them use it. And then when they get the knives back, just go get your knives, or just give them the same exact knives you have and you just send it in and have the knives come back to you. So here's service first when you're closing. Okay. So one thing that we do is an options close. And if you don't know what that is, we're not going to dive into that right now. But essentially, when we're talking to customers for the first time, virtual demo or behind the booth, we're going to talk about the complete set, the family set, and the homemaker set. And then simply what we say is, hey, knowing that Cutco will be the last set of knives that you'll ever buy, which set do you feel will bring you the most value for what you do in the kitchen over the next 20, 30, 40 years? And then they're picking. Versus saying, here's the ultimate set, here's the price, do you want it? Right? I'm giving them the option of, hey, which one do you want? When I'm also talking to someone behind the booth, I'm telling them like, hey, you can definitely, as far as buying Cutco, you can do what you want. You can buy one or two pieces, you can buy a smaller package, or you can get one of our block sets and completely replace all the knives that you have. If you were to do Cutco today, which way would you go? So that's another options close that I'm doing for them before we even get to the sets. So if they say, yeah, I think I just want just a few pieces, then I'll probably just show them a homemaker and a 5-piece. Okay. If they're like, yeah, I'll probably do the sets, then I'm showing them the ultimate, the signature, and the homemaker. If they're like, yeah, I'll probably just do like one or two knives, I'll probably still show them a 5-piece and start from there. So let's say they pick a homemaker. What I'm going to do is just to make sure they're getting exactly what they want, I'm going to show them the difference between the signature and the homemaker and just ask them again, like, hey, just so you know, the only difference between these two sets are these 4 pieces. So along with the pieces in this basic set, could you also see how you use these other 4, or would you still stick with the basic, right? So just making sure that they're maximizing that they're going to get exactly what they want. If they pick the signature or what we call the family set, ask if there are any pieces in the complete set that they would also use. Okay, so what I do is I basically put a bracket over the complete pieces, or if I'm doing a virtual demo, I'll kind of like circle the knives over the complete set and say, cool. So along with these knives in this set, with these pieces in the complete set, are there like one or two that you would also use on top of it? And then what you can do is you can simply add it on. Okay, so after they pick the set and you show them the price, I kind of pause a little bit. Also got this from my mentor, Brandon. Make sure you get a mentor, okay? Then I actually review everything that comes in a set, okay? And I do rapid fire. I'm not going over all the names, like I'm not going over all the uses, but I'll basically say like a paring knife for small things in air, tomato knife, you know, a sandwich knife, cooked meats knife, your forks, blah, blah, blah. So I'm doing rapid fire of what comes in the set, and I'm talking slowly. All right, and a shout out to Seth Kinzer for also building up the cutting boards. So after I explain all the pieces that come in a set, what I say is, and then what we do to make sure that you protect your investment is we actually include all of our cutting boards or the cutting board and the sharpener. These are your forever boards. Now realize too that customers don't know that they're getting cutting boards when they buy a set. They have no idea. So when we're building it up, like these are literally the last cutting boards you're ever going to ever have to buy, because when they get super scratched up and ugly looking, you literally send it in, we give you brand new cutting boards for free forever. Mr. Jones, just the other day, I sent in like half a dozen random cutting boards that I've like collected over the years, and I got brand new cutting boards. And this sharpener, Mr. Jones, when corporate trained us on sharpening Cutco straight edge knives, this is the sharpener they trained us on. So this is an amazing sharpener that we're including in this package. So then after that, after I explain everything that comes in a set, I'm just going to ask them now, I want to make sure that you're going to use everything in your set. So can you see how over the next 20, 30 years, you're going to use all the pieces in this set? So when they say yes, great. I know you're going to use everything. If they say no, then we're going to figure things out. Okay. We're not going to dive all into that. But here's surface first when dropping down, okay? So what we're doing now for dropping down is you want to sell off the set that you're currently on, and you want to build up the set that you are dropping to. So what does this mean? So there's two different ways to do this just based on the reaction that they get. So let's say you're closing on an ultimate, right? And their reaction is, oh, that's way too much, you know, and they start laughing. Oh, no, there's no way we can do that, Vernon, right? I'm going to react differently than if they say, you know, that's a great set, but it's just a little more than what I want to spend. So you want to use your intuition to tell you which way or which option you want to drop down, where you want to drop down to. So if it's the first one, like, oh, that's way too much, I'm probably going to drop down to either a homemaker or a 5-piece. Versus if they say, you know, that's just a little more than what I want to spend, I'm probably just going to drop down to a signature, right? And then you can actually substitute it for whichever set that they close on. So you always want to agree with them, and you want to do what we call the feel, felt, found. So what I say is something like, you know, I totally hear you. It definitely is a lot of money. Let me guess, you didn't come to X event thinking you're going to spend, you know, $3,000 on a set of knives, right? Or you didn't come to your free sharpening thinking you're going to spend $3,000 on a new set for your home or something, right? And trust me, a lot of my customers know exactly how you feel. They felt that when they saw me that, you know, I could use some good knives. My knives at home are bad. I know Cutco is worth it, but this is just a little more than what I want to spend. And so what they found is that it's better to have some good Cutco knives in their kitchen versus none at all, so that they're safer to use in the kitchen and they're still able to get rid of all the knives that they currently have. Does that make sense? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Great. So I'd like to show you what option, I'd like to show you the option that they've done in your situation. Is that cool? So I'm asking permission, and then they say yes. And then I'm going off of my intuition to show them the set that I'm dropping down to. So if I'm dropping from, say, an ultimate to a signature, I'm saying, cool. So out of these pieces right here, so I'm just showing the ultimate pieces, right? Either in person, or I'm circling, using my cursor to like circle it on the virtual demo. Out of these pieces, what are the one to two you would use the most? And then all I'm doing is I'm adding it on to the signature. So then all I'm saying, and the verbiage is the same, whether if it's an ultimate to a Siggy or an ultimate to a homemaker, It's like, yeah, like these pieces are great, but let's be honest, you're probably not going to use a cleaver all the time or a second paring knife, and some of these other pieces probably not going to use all the time, right? Yeah, these are great pieces to have eventually, but right away you're probably not going to use them a whole lot, right? Versus these pieces right here, and again, whether if it's the signature or the homemaker, you could probably see how you'll get a lot more practical use out of them right away, right? So that's why people love this, because it's only this price. And then even if you add on like these two knives that you want, you're still only this, which is way less than the $3,000 or the $600 payment, and you get exactly what you want. And I'm doing the same thing where I'm going to ask them, cool. So again, knowing you're going to have this for the rest of your life, you never have to buy knives again, because you see how you're going to use all the pieces in this set. Okay. And then if it's the homemaker set, it's essentially the same thing. I'm just building up a pile, like, honestly, Mr. Jones, that's why people start off with our basic set. It's honestly the number one set we sell every single year. And if I'm being real with you, Mrs. Jones, you can really do most of your jobs with these like 10 pieces right here. The ultimate pieces just help you do certain jobs a little bit easier and a little bit better. Right? So when you're saying stuff like that, you're building up the set and you're showing them that you are there for them and not for you. You're not trying to push the biggest set, the biggest package. Your job is to help them get Cutco in their kitchen. And when I'm dropping down to a 5-piece, let's say, we're dropping down a second time. Yeah, cool, Mrs. Jones, like I totally get it. And again, my customers know exactly how you feel. So just for fun, do me a favor. Out of these pieces, and I'm just pointing at the set that we're on currently, what are the 5 that you would use the most? And I'm having them pick up the 5. Okay, great. Another question. Would you want this in a block or a tray? Okay, cool. And then another question. Would you package this with a set of table knives or those super shears that I showed you? Okay, great. Let me show you this. Let me show you this option, because I think this is going to be perfect for you. Because instead of having some of these other pieces that like you're probably not going to use as much, these we know hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to use these all the time right away, right? And you can always upgrade to these sets later. So let's say in a few years, when I sharpen up your knives for free, we hang out, then you can always upgrade to this set later. And then when you do this, it's only this price. And what's cool is, Mr. Jones, you can still split this up over 5 months. So instead of it being, whatever it was, $300, $400, $600, it's literally this today. That's like going out to a really nice dinner, a couple times a month, filling up gas, a couple times a month. And what this allows you to do, you can still get rid of all the knives you have at home, and you have your beautiful set of Cutco. How do you feel about this one? It's probably a lot more practical, right? In fact, it's a lot better in the budget, right? So you see, the reason why we do it that way is because instead of just saying, okay, cool, well, the next option you have is this. Okay, well, the next option you have is this. That kind of like older way is more of a negative connotation to dropping down, because it's making them feel like they're missing out on the set they were just on. Versus this way, you're actually getting more excited the more you drop down. And they feel really, really good about getting a smaller set versus the set that they were on. And they always know they can upgrade to it later. And I'm going to relate it to buying a car, right? Mr. Jones, it's kind of like when I went to buy a car, the first car that I saw was like the dream. It was like what I really, really wanted. It was just a little more than what I was comfortable spending. But I knew that I wasn't just like not going to get a car, because I needed a car. So what I got was a basic trim level of the brand I was looking at, had everything that I needed, and I love it. And I know in a couple of years, I'm going to upgrade to a nicer car that I really like. So buying Cutco is the exact same way. Okay. Then the last thing that I want to touch on with this is customizing. So for me personally, I only customize as a last resort. And when I can feel that they love a certain set that they can afford, there's just a couple pieces that they wouldn't use. So what I'm saying is something along the lines of, so what I'm hearing is that you love this set, we'll call it the basic set, right? It's perfect for you, but maybe there's just like a couple of pieces that you want to swap out. Is that right? Okay, great. So, when you customize something, it usually costs more money, right? So it's the same thing with Cutco, where we can swap out a couple pieces. It's just going to be a little bit more. And I've had customers that have done that, and I felt great about spending more money if it meant getting exactly what they wanted. And then they're nodding their head. So what I'm doing is I'm showing them that because it's saving me CPO on like customizing a set essentially for free. It's also giving me an extra drop down for that. So when I'm showing them the price, let's say the homemaker instead of the 1326, if it's like 1400 bucks, whatever it is, right? They already know it's going to be more expensive, and they feel really great about getting exactly what they want. Okay. And again, that's only as a last resort, and they feel really great about doing it. And of course, I'm still going to give them some goodies like free gadgets, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So I know that that was a lot. So don't worry. I got a bonus gift for all of you. All right. So with some of the one-liners that I have in here and some of the approaches that I have with dropping down and closing, I'm sure you can't type out or write out everything right away. So I actually have a handout with all these one-liners that I've gotten from myself and mentors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them out to the national team, and they're going to email it all to you, so you can study it, you can implement it, you can put it in your script, you can change things up a little bit. And my biggest hope is that this helps you serve your clients at the highest level. And of course, if you have questions, you can reach out. So thanks again for coming to this event. And you should thank yourself. And I hope you got one or two things that will be a great needle mover in your business.